Valorant Champions 2022 is here, and the very first game already had a higher viewership peak than the grand final of the last tournament, being Masters Copenhagen. So there's a lot of hype going on, and today I'll be recapping what went on in these first two games of Champions on day one. Mostly I'll just be focusing on the end result, but also showing a few nice plays along the way. Looking at the first match, it was PRX versus Edward Gaming. Just as a little bit of context on Edward, they're a Chinese team that have basically come out of nowhere. They qualified through the East Asia LCQ without dropping a single map, so every time they were winning 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, and the grand final 3-0 as well. However, a little bit of bad news for them: one of their players wasn't actually playing in this game. Their main duelist player, LEV, was I think unwell or sick, and so Smoggy was filling in as a sub. Ed would take Pearl as their first map pick, which is pretty exciting as it's the first time we've seen Pearl played at this level. It's pretty expected that Viper is going to be the meta on this map, and while Ed would have a Viper and an Astra, PRX actually opt to only have an Astra as their controller with no Viper for extra support. And obviously it's a PRX game. I have to give a mention to Benkai's walkout, which today he was dressed up as a Turkish ice cream man, which I thought was pretty good. So again, I will mostly just be going straight to the scores of each map, but I do want to bring up this round 12 as it was pretty wild. So what PRX are going to be trying to do here is they're going to create some pressure towards A and Art, but then make their way towards this area. But you can just see how this plays out initially. So they're going to use this fade ult. You can see the pings are coming through here. So they send this fade ult through, and then after bringing that attention through there, they all rush through mid doors. You can see all four of them running through here. What they aren't expecting though is for Kang to be here with his chamber ult. They know his chamber ult is up, but they're probably expecting to be back here somewhere, when in reality he's aware and he's just waiting for them here. So even after missing the first shot, he's still able to get not only one, but he actually gets 2 kills. Now the KO did end up dying, but you can still see just the pressure here from Edward is so good, because 4 players from PRX are caught in this little area here, and they're getting pinched from both sides. So you've got the chamber here and the KO pressuring in from here, and then at the same time that all that happens, Adong also got a pick onto Forsaken. So everything is looking really good for Edward up to this point. Now Jing is going to use his raise ult here, buying time, or I guess like space, for Mind Freak. So you can see they just trade each other out, both those ultimates out the window, and now Mind Freak is technically in a 1v4, but just a 1v3 as the KO is already knocked. So 1v3, pretty difficult situation, but of course this is Mind Freak that we're talking about. So it's now all of a sudden a 1v1, and if you aren't already familiar with Mind Freak, definitely start looking into him now. Just keep an eye out for his name, because you will be seeing him a lot over the next few weeks as this tournament goes on. He is absolutely insane in the controller here for PRX. Easy 1v3 for him. And then there was also this insane raise ult from Jing that I want to show you, where he plays off the contact of Chamber's trademark, and then as soon as that trademark goes off, he double satchels up into the air and shoots a rocket over here, which I don't think anyone even knew this was possible. This was just insanely impressive to see it play out in real time in a major tournament as well. Even though this was Edward's map pick, PRX actually ended up winning it in an extremely close match, being 13-11. And I think this is because a lot of the time Edward Gaming would struggle to play out the entire round. Like you can see, Kang went insane at the start of the rounds. He had 8 first kills and 0 first deaths, which is absolutely insane, but he still ended up with only a 0.86 KD somehow. So despite starting off the round really well, it ended up dying later on. Obviously that's just one player as an example. I just thought that while it was a really impressive stat, having 8 first kills and 0 first deaths, it's interesting that even when they're clearly dominating the early round so much, they end up falling off later on. And in general, it just felt like they were playing a lot better at the start of the round compared to the end of the round when time was running out, and maybe there was just more stress involved. Second map is Icebox, which was technically PRX's pick, but it's not one of their stronger maps. The best maps are normally Bind and Fracture, but both those were bans in the first 2 picks for this match, so they ended up choosing Icebox. This map ended up being surprisingly dominant for Edward, and I want to show off this round here, and you'll see why pretty quickly if you keep your eye on Nobody, the server player for Edward Gaming. PRX are going to push up and get aggressive like they typically like to on defense, and they are actually even going to get the first 2 picks of this round. So right now they've got a man advantage of 4-3, but then they maybe just get a little bit too greedy for these first picks. The bar goes down as well. Now we're in a 3v3, and Forsaken is on 1 HP. So Nobody's got his recon dart here. You can see he's going to throw it outside and then run the wrong player here, but the recon actually pings Mind Freak. So he just turns around and shoots straight through the side of Tube, takes out Mind Freak. Then Benkai's going to get Smoggy. Now look at the HP for the 2 PRX players. They have a combined total of 6 HP, and Nobody is in a 1v2. He's going to slowly make his way towards A site. Benkai is actually going to happen to come out behind him right here, so he will see Benkai right here. He hears him, so now it's a 1v1. Now, nobody has so much utility right here. He just uses recon dart, he still has a shock dart, and Forsaken's 1 HP, and he has his ult as well. So Forsaken is smart enough to go for this flank, assuming that, well, he's going to be playing further back for his ultimate. But there is just some insane timing here. Like, look at the minimap. He goes up top, and then he just appears on his screen, and he gets the ace. This round was insane, and the fact that Forsaken just happens to go on top of the rope rather than going around and clearing it, it was just wild. Yeah, like I said, Edward Gaming did a lot better on this map than people expected them to against PRX. Every round, someone on the team was just taking turns getting 4Ks and aces, so they ended up taking the other team's map pick pretty convincingly 13-5. The third map for this series was Haven, and Edward Gaming used to ban Haven, so PRX were definitely looking to be the favorite going into this third map. Both teams played their standard comps, which does mean a Reyna for PRX. The round I want to talk about for Haven is actually just going to be the final round of the game, because it's actually a save for PRX. You can see they don't have much. All they really have to rely on is the Jet Knights. You can see that flash coming through though. Breach just gets completely flashed. Forsaken gets 1 kill there, and then it's just Forsaken just goes crazy there, takes out the Fade as well. So now it's a 5v3, and they have 2 extra rifles there. I think maybe one of them only had a Spectre. Either way, 2 more guns there, purely off the back of some brilliance from Forsaken in the knives, and they just play off each other really well here. You can see they get 1 pick, but then Forsaken picks out, gets another one. Same thing here. They will get 1 pick, but then the other players figure out where they're playing from, and then it's just very easy for PRX to just play off each other, close out the round, and the match, and the series. This probably is the expected result at the end of the day. Edward Gaming going down to PRX, but they did put up a very good fight, especially considering the fact that they are playing with a sub in this match. It's a shame that they lost Pearl as their own map pick when it was so close, being 13-11, because they took out Icebox so easily. So what this means now is that PRX goes straight onto the winners match of Group A, whereas Edward Gaming now have to win 2 games back-to-back to make it into the playoffs. Second match of the day is Team Liquid versus Leviatán, and Team Liquid were definitely their favorite going into this match, but I was surprised by just how favored they were, considering Leviatán had a really good showing at last Masters. I was already surprised by that, and then the map pool actually went incredibly in favor of Leviatán, as Ascent is very good for them, Blind is really bad for Liquid, and then Haven was just sort of 50-50 in the middle. So even though Haven is Liquid's map pick, it's pretty average and just standard map for both teams, not really a distinct advantage for one team or the other. For the most part, Leviatán played Haven very well, as you can tell by the scoreboard at the top, but I want to take a look at this map to see that while they were very disciplined at some points, they did also throw a few times. So they're in a 3v2 right now, and they are actually going to find Nevera as well on back site. So it is going to be a 3v1. You can see they find Nevera here. Now it's a 3v1 against a Chamber who doesn't even have his ultimate. He has a normal operator and then his pistol, which his pistol is a great weapon, but he's in a 3v1 as a Chamber. Realistically, there should be no way for him to win this. And then he gets the first pick, and now it's only a 2v1. And I mean, obviously this is just a bit of brilliance from Yampy, and you don't expect many people to be able to pull this off, but at the same time, Leviatán should not lose this. Like again, only so many people are going to be hitting their shots, but still, Leviatán, they do take this map, but at the same time, they definitely got some improvements they can make. Quickly taking a look at some of the stats for Haven as well. Just like in the first series, actually, Leviatán went on a big run right at the start. They won 5 rounds in a row. And Taco actually underperformed. He's normally one of their big pop-off players, and he had 6 first deaths. So I'm really excited to see what else Leviatán have to offer across this tournament, because if this is what they're doing, if they're beating Team Liquid when Taco isn't even playing that well, I can't even imagine what they're going to do when he starts popping off. So Ascent is basically just Leviatán's map. They didn't lose it a single time at last Masters, and overall Ascent is normally a defensive sided map. Liquid did play some Phoenix though on Ascent, which was sort of fun to see. So what I wanted to showcase from Ascent was basically just Taco Leo. So you can see here, 6-6 here at the half. It is defense sided Ascent, so you sort of expect Leviatán to just run away with it from here. But this round is looking dangerous now. Scrim's gotten 2 picks, and then Yampy gets another one. So Team Liquid have the numbers, and Taco, I don't know why they don't plant the spike here, right? There's some, like, Team Liquid mess up there, but then Taco Leo just gets 2, and then the round's just flipped on its head. Sort of from a mistake. I don't know why Team Liquid didn't just plant the spike, but Taco goes pretty crazy here. And I wanted to show this chamber moment as well. Like, the time that takes to pull out the headhunter is just ridiculous. Like, you can see it here in a little bit of slow-mo.
They literally make rounds where they have 2 or more stingers look better than their buy rounds. Rob, I challenge you.
It is just ridiculous. I don't want to get too off topic here, but Chamber might need a few more nerfs than he's already gotten. Overall, I mean, they did throw 1 or 2 rounds like I showed earlier, but this was a really good showing from Leviatán. I think they're one of my favorite teams to watch right now in Champions. I'm really excited to see how well they do. And again, this was a really good match, them taking out Team Liquid very convincingly. And what this means now for Leviatán is that they'll first verse PRX. If they win that match, they'll go straight through to playoffs. If they lose, they'll have to verse the winner of Team Liquid and Edward Gaming to then take that second spot into playoffs. Hopefully you enjoyed this video or just gained something from it. This is my first time making a video talking about pro Valorant or competitive Valorant in this sense, so any feedback is appreciated, and hopefully I'll do another one of these tomorrow. We've got 3 games tomorrow, so that should be good.